A challenging year is ahead for public schools all over New Mexico, and joining us to talk about how the state's largest school district will deal with it all is Albuquerque Public Schools Superintendent Winston Brooks. Winston, thank you so much for being with us
Absolutely.
today.
Thanks, Mike, for having me.
Well, this is a very important time for the schools around the state, including APS. In fact, today early voting gets underway for APS and a bond and mill levy election that's coming up February 2nd. And a lot of money involved here, but money that's extremely needed by APS. Is that right?
You know, and I think so in so many ways. Of course, I have a bias, but I think one of the things, first of all, I think leaving school buildings as a legacy is something that voters can feel really good about. I think a community that's building schools instead of shopping centers, although we do a little bit of that too, it really says something good about the community. But I think the other thing that people don't think about is the economic value that we've brought to the city of Albuquerque and the county of Bernalillo. We were doing about a little over $20 million a month in construction business when the last bond issue was really rolling. So I think this is not only a positive thing for our students and our teachers, but it's a very positive thing for the community because it brings a lot of economic growth to our community.
I know a lot of this money that we're talking about, over $600 million, most of it is going to the buildings, making sure you maintain them and perhaps building some new ones. Is that right?
Absolutely. You know, the last bond issue was really focused primarily on the growth on the west side of the river. This time, there will be some work on the west side, but it's more about trying to address the needs that we have with the older buildings. The average age of a school building in Albuquerque is 42 years old. We have places like Sandia High School that haven't been touched since they were built. And you know, they wear and tear,
sure,
just like most of our homes do, and they need some drastic and dramatic infrastructure work. They need to be updated so that all of our kids around Albuquerque can have state-of-the-art facilities.
One of the issues that I don't even know if you consider dealing with, if you consider yourself having to deal with, but parents are concerned about it, some students, the cell phone issue. And I know that the district is looking at how to deal with putting together a cell phone policy for their students.
Well, I tell you what, technology has changed all of our lives, and technology certainly changed the lives of us in the school business. You know, on one hand, I know as a parent myself, I want my kids, I want my wife to have a cell phone. I want to be able to contact them and them contact me whenever they need to. On the other hand, kids have really learned that they can take that technology and do things that they shouldn't be doing.
Sure.
And so, you know, this sexting, what they call sexting, and you have kids that are sending pictures, nude pictures of one another. Even taking pictures of test questions and sending it to all their class members, some of those kinds of things we really have to be a lot more concerned about. So we're not looking at banning them completely, but certainly putting a lot of restrictions on how to use that technology.
Okay, well, very interesting there. We'll continue to follow that. In our next segment, I know that we'll have a chance to talk about the state legislature and about teacher salary. So if you could stick around for that, we'd sure appreciate it.
I'd love to.
Okay, that'll be coming up in our next hour with APS Superintendent Winston Brooks. In our first hour, we had a chance to talk with APS Superintendent Winston Brooks about a number of subjects, including the bond election coming up. And in this half hour, we'd like to talk to the superintendent about the upcoming state legislature. And again, thanks so much for being with us.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
This is a big deal coming up. It always is, but maybe more so than usual, about how much money not only APS, but other school districts across the state are going to get. What are you seeing right now as we get closer?
Well, I tell you what, it's really scary, Mike. I've been here 18 months, a little over 18 months now. And since I've been here, we've cut about $26 million out of our budget. Now, we have a big budget. We have $1 billion budget, so $26 million may not, in some people's minds, seem like a lot of money. But we've already cut $26 million, and now we're looking at the potential. I mean, I don't know what it's going to end up being, but it could be as high as 40 or 50 million again. We have done a really good job, I think, in making all of the cuts so far away from the classroom. We've tried not to raise class sizes. We've tried not to furlough teachers and all of those kinds of things. But, you know, you get to a point where the majority of our costs are really wrapped up in classroom teachers.
Sure.
And, you know,
which is what you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. We have tried to cut as much fat as we can find at City Center and our M&O departments and all those kinds of things. But the majority of our cost, if people would just think about it, are teachers. We have more teachers than we have anybody, and support staff to help run those schools. There has been a proposal by the Legislative Finance Committee that we ask all of our teachers to take a 2% salary reduction. I am adamantly opposed to that. I think that if we have to make some cuts, they ought to allow, the legislature that is, should allow the local school board and the local superintendents to make those decisions. I think these mandates that come down that are, one size fit all, just isn't workable. And I really find it disheartening, quite frankly, for us to go to our teachers, who I believe are dramatically underpaid to begin with, and ask them to once again take another salary cut. They took a cut last year when part of their salary had to go to support their retirement program.
Right.
Health insurance, like everybody's, going up. So our teachers are making less money today than they were making 2 or 3 years ago. And I just don't think that teachers should have to take that kind of hit.
Can you win that battle?
Well, I hope so. I'm to a point in my career in life that, there aren't that many things I'm willing to, that many hills to die on.
Yeah.
But this 2% reduction in salary for teachers, it is a hill I want to die on if I have to. And so I'm going to fight hard for it.
Okay, Winston Brooks.
Against it.
Against it, right,
Yeah.
I understand. Winston Brooks, Superintendent APS, thanks so much for visiting with us, and I hope you have a great month. I know it's going to be very important for you.
Well, Happy New Year to you and all the
New Year.
folks here.
Okay, very good. Thanks so much.
Yep.